they understand that, yes, this probably seems very, 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 very crazy, but if I can envision something and then make it a reality and other people can see that, that's why it's important to hang out with people who are also dream chasing.
As long as you put in the work. If you can't be consistent and you can't put in the work, all of this is a pipe dream. But if you can be consistent and you can put in the work and you can improve, by 0.1% every single day over the long term, there's no question that your dreams are possible. Just don't expect other people to believe that.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode with Elizabeth Earnshaw, setting boundaries with your partner. Today, for episode number 812, it's only crazy until it works. It is Motivation Monday. So
It's Motivation Monday. I just want to repeat what you said.
Oh, yeah, no, sure. I did a post today that I recorded when we were in Fort Lauderdale for that event. And the post I did inspired me to decide for Alan and I to do this episode. If you have a goal, if you have an aspiration, if you have a dream, and the people in your life don't believe it, it's honestly understandable why. You imagine something. And you said, you know what? I know I can bring this into reality. I know that this is possible for me in my future. But for most people, seeing is believing. For an entrepreneur, for somebody with vision, somebody who has a big dream, dreaming about it, really feeling it and believing that it's possible, you will work on it until it is seen. And it's no wonder why more people don't believe in your mission, your purpose. Most people just believe in what they see. And they will believe it eventually. They will believe it when they see it. It's only crazy until it works.
It's only crazy until it works. So this is a really congruent topic. Again, thank you, Kevin, for coming up with it.
Indeed.
And I have so many different ways we can go with this, but this is the analogy that I used to use, and I'm going to do a little throwback to the hyperconscious days. Imagine you wake up every single morning at 4:30 a.m., and you walk out, you grab a can of water, and you walk out to a field. In the early morning, it's still kind of dark, and you water a patch of dirt. And you do that every day. You've heard me talk about the Chinese bamboo, how bamboo grows roots for literally years prior to actually breaking the surface, and then when it breaks the surface, it's something crazy like 200 feet tall within a couple weeks. And so imagine that's like your dream. Because of the nature of the compound effect and how hard and how long it takes to actually manifest something big, to do the impossible, as Stephen Kotler would say, it takes sometimes decades. And you're going to be called crazy until other people can see that plant through the surface. Of course, for the first 4 years, if you went out and watered a patch of dirt, of course, people are going to be like, wow, that person is nuts. That person is crazy. But just remember, Bill Gates was called crazy. Steve Jobs was called crazy. Oprah Winfrey was called crazy. All of the heroes that you have, I remember an interview I listened to with Jennifer Lopez, and I'll never forget it. She basically said, if I listened to everybody who said I couldn't sing or dance or act, I'd still be sitting in a room doing nothing. Even after I became famous for these things, people still told me I couldn't do it. It's like interesting. And so, of course, it's going to be crazy to people who have limiting beliefs. Their beliefs and their future orientation and their ability to anticipate the future might be lower or different, and that's okay. But just understand that you are not necessarily crazy. You should not be questioning yourself. You should be trying and failing forward. And again, you're not going to regret trying and failing. What you're going to regret is not trying at all.
And this is just yet another reason why it's so important to surround yourself with people who say, I know you can do this. It'll be amazing when. I'm so proud of you for doing what you're doing, because they understand that, yes, this probably seems very, 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 very crazy, but if I can envision something and then make it a reality and other people can see that, that's why it's important to hang out with people who are also dream chasing, because they can empathize with that. They have compassion for the fact that you're probably misunderstood at a fairly deep level. And then when things start to pick up and you start to get quote unquote real world or real life results, that's when people jump on the bandwagon, or they jump on the fact that you're really doing something. And at that point, you already have most of the support you need. So it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting topic. If you're out there and you feel lost or you feel like nobody's supporting you, this is why. Just surround yourself with people who are on the same or a similar journey, and you'll have that camaraderie pretty quickly.
I'm reading a book called Will right now by Will Smith, and he's talking about his story and his upbringing. If you read that book, I highly recommend it. So far, it's very good, and he's actually reading it too, by the way. He's a very charismatic reader. It's excellent. But he's talking about his childhood in Philadelphia and how brutal it was. And it was pretty bad. I mean, he had a lot of childhood trauma, and it's fascinating how many parallels there were in my childhood to his. But my point is this. If you had said a little African-American kid in Philadelphia was going to be the most successful movie star in history when he was still just a little kid, you'd be like, what? You're absolutely nuts. Of course not. Statistically speaking, that's impossible. Yeah, but it's Will Smith. But no one knew that back then, right? And so whether it's Will Smith, again, or Oprah, or anybody who's ever achieved their dreams, it's really important. And I told Kevin that I would do this because I used to do this a lot in my PowerPoint presentations. I show a picture of a horse. Back when there was only horses, Henry Ford was imagining cars. Okay? Back when there was only cars, someone was imagining airplanes. Howard Hughes being one of them. Back when there was only airplanes, someone was imagining space shuttles. JFK, another notable name. Okay? What else could we imagine? So just because you have something in your imagination that isn't real yet doesn't mean it can't be real. And you have to understand that. If Kevin had come up to me, well, not me, if he had come up to a random person on the street and said, hey, in 5 years, I'm going to start a podcast. In 5 years, I'm going to have 800 episodes. I'm going to have a 13-person global virtual team. We're going to surpass $300,000 in gross revenue. We're going to have listeners all over the world. We're going to have dozens of clients. We're going to do group coaching. We're going to host live events every quarter in 2022. And that person would have been like, "What? You're absolutely insane." Of course. What are you crazy? What are you on? What are you smoking? And if you had said that to me, by the way, I'd have been like, okay, awesome. Yeah. Cool. Totally cool. But I think that that's because I understand what's possible with the long-term compound effect of small daily disciplines over time. And I realize now, taking most people through that financial calculator exercise we've been doing, that not a lot of people have that, and that's totally fine. But my point is this. If he had said that, people would have been like, yeah, right, man. I mean, people already do that even when you say your dream car. In my head, it's like you'd have to royally screw up at this point, Kevin. You'd have to royally start screwing up at this point to not get your dream car. You know what I mean? And you know that now, right? Yeah. But 4 or 5 years ago, that's not the way you thought. And I think that that's sad. And for the listeners, I want you guys to believe in yourself more as long as you put in the work. If you can't be consistent and you can't put in the work, all of this is a pipe dream. But if you can be consistent and you can put in the work and you can improve, by 0.1% every single day over the long term, there's no question that your dreams are possible. Just don't expect other people to believe that.
And last thing before we head out of here, quite literally everything that has ever been created was in somebody's imagination first. This cell phone, this pen, AirPods, this water bottle, this coffee mug, this microphone, the camera, my hat, my shirt, everything. Every single thing that has ever been created started in somebody's imagination. And a lot of these things were like, think of it this way. AirPods, headphones. Somebody said, hey, what if we could do like these headphones without any wires? And now we have AirPods. That was in somebody's imagination, and they believed long enough to bring it into reality. This was impossible, quote unquote, at one point or another in history. So I like this. I'm glad we did this episode. Next Level Nation, we have a free course, How to Live Your Dream Life. Totally free. I guarantee it is the most valuable free thing you ever take the time to go through. It's not a PDF. It's not a couple pages. It is literally an hour and a half of Alan and I dropping knowledge, and it's wonderfully packaged, and we have cutscenes and worksheets. It's a whole thing. It will help you live your dream life, guaranteed, and it's totally free, no strings attached. Show notes and on our website as well.
Remember, this course is so valuable, in fact, that Kevin and I had a a debate
Fist fight.
and a fist fight. No, we had a debate about whether or not it could be free. He didn't want it to be free because it's so valuable, and that's not anything against the listeners. It's just that valuable. So I convinced him to make it free. Please don't let that stop you from seeing the value of it. And again, nothing against you, Kev. I understand.
Oh, no.
It is a super valuable course, and it did take us literally 10 hours to do?
Yeah.
And that's not including the worksheets or putting it together behind the scenes. So seriously, please download the course. Hell yes. I want to say one more thing, and this is going to be a little different. Steve Jobs said, I want to put 1,000 songs in your pocket. I and Kevin want to put holistic self-improvement in your pocket every single day, forever. 0.1% improvement per day for the rest of your life will compound into unreasonable results. If you listen to this show and you've gotten value from this show, I'm just going to ask you to please share it. Share it with someone who's into growth, who's into improvement. This podcast is something special. I believe it's the best podcast in the world, and it will help you no matter what. That's one thing I'm certain of. It will help you improve. That's for certain. We don't talk about anything else. It's all how to improve. And so please share it with someone who you care about.
I second that. Tomorrow's episode is number 813, last week's live podcast, How to Lean Into Who You Really Are. We got a lot of really good love on that one. As always, we appreciate each and every one of you, grateful for all of your support, and we do not have fans, we have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.